Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Julia Janae. There was a major ruling this week by Missouri's highest court. It overturned a statutory rape conviction of a man named Rodney Smith. That conviction was overturned because of video testimony from an investigator that the high court found violated the defendant's Sixth Amendment right to confront the witness against him. Now, this overturning could cause major ripples in the justice system. Let's take a look at some of the recent trials here on Court TV that had remote witnesses and how this ruling could affect the justice system.
Do you understand that the witness would appear by Zoom over the computer?
Yes.
Instead of being here in person?
Yes, sir.
Remote testimony in trials has become a more common thing due to the coronavirus pandemic. But now an overturned conviction in Missouri is raising new questions about remote witnesses. Missouri's Supreme Court reversed the 2019 statutory rape conviction of Rodney Smith on January 11th, finding an investigator's video testimony violated Smith's right to confront the witness against him. In March of 2020, at the beginning of the pandemic, the trial of Andre Warner began. Warner was convicted of first-degree murder in the 2016 execution-style killing of a single dad. In that case, the detective who received information about the vehicle related to the suspected killer testified remotely.
Did you ask Mr. Warner whether he had loaned his vehicle to Ms. Bustos earlier that day?
I'd asked him if he'd loaned it to someone. He indicated that he had loaned it to a female that had been vouched for by a friend.
And in a trial in Akron, Ohio, where Stanley Ford was convicted of killing 9 of his neighbors in 2 separate house fires, one of Ford's neighbors testified remotely, giving damning testimony.
When you would speak with Stanley Ford, what did he tell you about his ability to start a fire?
Stanley told me that when he was much younger, that he knew how to start a fire.
When you were telling us about what Mr. Ford, Stanley Ford, told you about Lindell, what did Stanley Ford tell you he was going to do about it?
He was going to take care of it.
Defendant Erica Stefanko in Akron, Ohio, was convicted of placing a false pizza order that lured Ashley Biggs to her death at the hands of Biggs' ex-boyfriend, Chad Cobb. Cobb testified remotely from behind bars, pointing the finger at Stefanko.
What did you believe would happen to Erica if you cooperated with the state?
I don't know what would happen to Erica because I can't understand why she was able to walk out of the police station the same day that we both were put in there. I mean, I got hauled off to jail and she walked right back into the home of everybody and everything that I love.
The Sixth Amendment requires defendants be allowed the right to confront their witnesses, but there are exceptions. The Supreme Court upheld a ruling in the case of Maryland versus Sandra Craig, where the judge allowed a victim of child abuse to testify remotely to lessen the trauma of testifying. In Iowa, during the trial of Todd Mullis, the defendant's son testified against his own father remotely as he described how he found the body of his mother.
You obviously found your mom when she was unresponsive.
Yes.
You then got into the truck and your dad placed your mom's body on top of yours.
Yes.
And in fact, you had your mom's blood all over you after she was taken out of the car.
Yes.
Tristan, do you want to be here testifying today?
No.
Is this a very difficult thing for you to talk about?
Yes.
The ruling from the Missouri Supreme Court is different than many of the pandemic-era cases because the judge allowed the witness to testify despite the defendant's objections. But the overturned conviction is raising new questions about video testimony and how this ruling could impact the congestion of court systems as they struggle with a backlog of cases from the coronavirus pandemic. Still with me in Los Angeles, Rachel Fiset. I am eager to get your West Coast perspective on this. Have you had a trial or litigation where there was a remote witness recently?
I have. It's been civil though, and I have had the civil cases done remote, and in the initial phases of the pandemic, I was thinking how terrifying this would be, how terrible it could work. And I really kind of wrote it off. So I have to say, remote testimony has, in general, been much better than I expected it to be. I thought I would lose quite a bit more than what I have lost. I will also tell you, I would never do a criminal trial remotely. I think there is too much at stake, and you lose just enough that the jury and the lawyers and the defense team and the cross, all of that, enough is lost that in a criminal trial, when so much is at stake and the Sixth Amendment is at play, I do not think remote trial in a criminal case works.
That is an important distinction. I do want to point out some things about this major ruling in Missouri. It's their Supreme Court, but that trial that is the subject of this overturning actually was in 2019, so had nothing to do with the pandemic. It's because that investigator was on paternity leave, and they wanted him to still be able to testify, but he couldn't come into the courthouse. And also his testimony went to the heart of the case. This was a rape case, but the accuser had actually recanted. So the accuser did not testify. Without this detective connecting the DNA to the defendant, they really would not have been able to get this conviction. Also, the sentence in that case was probation. But talk about the difference between an accuser not coming into the courtroom versus perhaps a witness, an expert who can't make it, or someone that both sides stipulate to.
Right. I mean, it's very different. The investigator in this case was the case, it sounds like. And so he is now your most important witness. I don't know if the defendant testified. It doesn't matter. It sounds like the accuser or the victim in this case was no longer a witness for the state. So yes, this is a very big deal. It's very lazy that he did it on remote. That's kind of lazy on the prosecution's team, as there was not even the pandemic as a reason. So if your most important person that is on the state side, the accuser, is not showing up, no, that just doesn't work, because there is enough lost that maybe that person would break down a little more on cross-exam, maybe with the face-to-face feeling that they would get, other than the protection that a screen offers and a protection that remote testimony offers. There might have been a better ability to get at what the defense needed to get at. I agree with this decision. Now, when you have other less important witnesses, maybe defense witnesses, because they are not, the state doesn't have the Sixth Amendment right. It's only the defense that has the Sixth Amendment right. So that's a little bit different. And then if the defense has decided they want to have someone testify remotely, they don't have a right then to appeal it later. But here we are protecting the accused, and that is what the Constitution is there for. And the right to confront and cross someone who is accusing you or the state's witnesses is important, and it shouldn't be lost on remote testimony and technology.
Absolutely. Excellent points, Rachel. I will point out that those were stipulated too in those other ones that we highlighted in the package as far as the remote testimony, so unlikely that they'll be overturned. But there are new questions about video testimony in criminal court cases nationwide. So we asked our viewers, should an accuser be allowed to testify remotely, especially now during a pandemic? We'll find out what you had to say after the break.